record.
All right.
So my name is Sita. My name is Sita Bhattacharjee, but call me Sita, please.
Okay.
I started out in black and white photography a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. But I still love black and white, but obviously digital is where we are, and it has a whole lot of advantages, right? Yeah, including being a lot cheaper because you don't have to buy film and process the film. But anyway, I'll go over the syllabus and see if you have any questions during or after, and talk about the structure of the class a bit. Let me share the screen. Can you see this all right?
Yes, I can.
Okay, and I'm sure you have it too, but here's our Canvas page with announcements at the top. Welcome. I assume that you, Roman, have a camera, but what have you got?
I have a Canon Rebel T7.
Mm-hmm.
It works. It does the job. I realized that I wish I had a bigger
sensor.
Yeah.
Right.
But it does what it does what I needed to do, but I plan on getting something a little bit better that can I can get better pictures with, because some of the pictures are just like, oh, that would be a cool picture if it was just a little bit bigger.
I hear you. Yeah. I mean, the camera I use is a Nikon D7200, and it also does not have a full-size sensor, which we will be going over, by the way, for everyone. And I do see the limitations of it, but it's also a fine camera for most of the stuff I do. You know, for most stuff, it doesn't really matter. And so for those of you who are in need of a camera, I have put up some possibilities. If you are thinking of buying one, my first recommendation, if you don't have a camera, is to ask friends and relatives if they have cameras around, because I'm sure you know a lot of people, or some people anyway, who have upgrade fever and have to get the newest thing around, and people just kind of set aside their older equipment, which often is still really, you know, fine and serviceable, and for this class certainly more than serviceable. So this is a Canon that's not in focus, is it? This is a Canon EOS Rebel T6, so the previous model, I think 2 years, Roman, and it was abandoned at school, and I never could find whose it was. So here it is. I use it for demonstrations, and it's a fine camera. It's not the most outstanding in the world, but it's fine, you know, and the optics are good, even with the little kit lenses that it came with. And my own camera, I purchased at Costco some years ago now. And I think it's a good camera, and Costco is a great place to buy equipment of that sort. You know, the prices are really good. They have a really good return policy if you need to return something, and that goes for anything, you know. And they also have good prices on memory cards and flash drives. So something to keep in mind. But here's a list for those of you who may be in need of a camera. I've listed some point and shoot cameras that have manual control, which is something that you really want to have, not just for this class, certainly for this class, but in general. You want to have control over the basic functions of the camera, because that's how you control, in large part, how your image will be, not the composition, but light and dark and areas of focus, if you're stopping motion, and so on. So these are, in terms of cameras, cheaper cameras, under $400. Inexpensive in and of itself. I've also listed some what are called DSLR cameras. Those are digital single lens reflex cameras, so of this type, and listed some that are under $800. DSLRs can get very expensive, up to $8,000 to $10,000 for a body if if you're in need of such. Most of us are not. But these are some of the lower priced DSLRs, and those do afford you much more control over your image. So if you're in need, this is in the announcements on Canvas. So the top of the page is where it should be. Where all of the announcements should be. Sorry, my internet, while I supposedly have the highest level, is not great, my internet service. So I apologize if it kind of hangs up there. Anyway, here's our syllabus. Welcome to digital photography. The best way to contact me is via email. So my email address is here. You can also access that directly through Canvas if you don't want to or can't do it through your own email. You can send me an email through Canvas. It comes through to me in the same way. My office hours are on Thursdays from 1:30 to 3:30. And that is, of course, via Zoom. And the Zoom invitation is in the modules on Canvas, and I'll go there in a few minutes. But that's where it is, and that's the same address that you would be using if you were here. Roman's the only one for this meeting. We will have Zoom meetings periodically through the semester, and we'll be having them generally after your assignment is due. So to look at your assignments in person. You'll also receive, along with your grade, comments from me in Canvas. And generally they'll be written out. Sometimes I may record them so that we can look at the images as I talk about them. So again, the Zoom meetings will not be like every week because this class is listed as asynchronous, which means we do not have regularly scheduled meeting times. Everything is technically online, but it is nice to meet and see faces, I think, and interact. So I hope that that you will attend the Zoom meetings. They are technically not required, again, because the class is listed as asynchronous. But I hope you'll come anyway. And I'll send out an email and an announcement when there will be, to give you some warning that we'll be having a Zoom meeting. If my office hours do not work for you on Thursdays, email me if you need to talk to me, and we can try and arrange another time that works for both of us to meet. So this course is an introduction to the technical and aesthetic properties of digital photography, with an emphasis on the use of the digital SLR camera as a tool for electronic photographic image making. Additionally, you will work at creating efficient digital workflows with Adobe Photoshop and Lightroom as the primary digital darkroom. And we'll probably work more in Lightroom than in Photoshop in this intro class, but we will talk about both. You will learn the technical aspects of photography, as well as how to use the camera as a tool for creating art and expressing conceptions, objectives, etc. You are encouraged to employ your aesthetic, intellectual, and emotional concerns as a basis for your photographic expressions. More simply put, We'll go over the technical aspects of photography and, of course, Light and Photoshop. And of course, you will be making your own images and working on them in class, in Lightroom and Photoshop. And those images, of, in general, of course, will be based on your interests and life around you. So, although no previous knowledge of photography or photo editing is required or assumed, you must be familiar with such basic computer operations as opening and saving files, file management, copy and paste, and so on. The basics of using a computer, which I assume you all can do because you are here in an online class. Due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic and the measures put in place to slow its spread, this class, which normally, excuse me, would be taught in the MPC Digital Photo Lab, obviously is being taught here online. Students must have regular access to a computer with high-speed internet access and be familiar with using the internet, which again, I can't imagine that you are not at this point. But this class will require the use of Adobe Creative Cloud software applications. If you do not already have access to the Adobe Creative Cloud software suite, MPC and Adobe will provide access to you for the duration of the semester. And you'll need to set up a free account with Adobe if you don't already have one. So your names have been given, because you're enrolled in this class, your names have been given to Adobe so that you will have access to, actually, you should have access to the entire Creative Suite, which is a whole lot of applications. But for this class specifically, Lightroom and Photoshop. And what you want to use for this class is Lightroom Classic. So there are two Lightroom applications, and the one that just says Lightroom is an application that you can use cross-platform, or platform in that you can use it in, on different devices. So you can access your images on your phone, on your computer, on your tablet, but it doesn't have all of the functions that Lightroom Classic has. And so Lightroom Classic is the application that we use pretty much on the computer. And that's what you'll be using for this class. And you can access that, and again, all of the other Creative Cloud applications with the temporary license that you get from Adobe. If you want to continue with Adobe's applications, there are discounts that you can get as a student, and there are discounts that you can get from, I will send you the link from this other site that are better in price than Adobe's student and faculty discounts. But I'll send a link for that to you. But you don't need that right away, because again, for the course of the semester, Adobe will provide you with access. You will, as I said, need a digital camera, preferably a DSLR, or one that allows you some measure of control over the functions such as aperture and shutter. And you're encouraged to bring your cameras to Zoom meetings and to office hours if you have problems or questions with them. And of course, feel free to ask me any questions about them. I don't pretend to know each and every camera model. So if you have an instruction manual and are having problems and or questions, it would be helpful if you have it, but I'm sure we can figure stuff out regardless. Again, as this is an online class, you need to be familiar with Canvas and how to use and navigate. All of the course information will be found on Canvas. And as I said, we'll have periodic Zoom meetings. And again, my office hours are via Zoom. And the invitation for the Zoom meetings and for my office hours is the same, and you can find it in the Zoom meetings invitations module on Canvas. The recommended text for the class is Complete Digital Photography by Ben Long, 9th edition. And the readings from this are shown in the corresponding modules on Canvas. Again, you're not required to buy the book, but I find it's useful and helpful to have a text to refer to. It's up to you though. You will not be tested on, nor will you be responsible for any information that you do not find on, in our class here on Canvas. To get the book, to access it, go to the site that I have given you a link for down here, and you can purchase either the printed version or you can download the ebook, your choice. Okay, learning outcomes and objectives of the class. So upon completion of this class, these are the things that you should be able to do. This is not worded exactly correctly, but anyway, develop a knowledge of and skill in the use of tools, techniques, technologies, processes, and principles of digital photography. Just want you to know I didn't write these. Acquire an understanding of aesthetic and conceptual functions of digital and traditional photography and its influence on culture in historical and modern processes. So we will be looking at the work of other photographers and not the entire history of photography, obviously, but some of the elements of this and what went into the development of photography as we know it today. Okay. Achieve self-reliance and the critical perspective required to create independent, relevant work. Develop productive studio habits, a strong work ethic, and safety protocol. Of course, that's really more true of classes that meet in person and specifically to lab classes. And gain ability to use visual media to bring personal ideas to fruition and effectively communicate that vision to others. The objectives are essentially the same, perhaps worded somewhat differently as the outcomes, but use tools, techniques, technologies, processes, and principles of digital photography. Recognize and evaluate digital and traditional photographic trends in contemporary and historical photography. Evaluate content and form of photographs using appropriate terminology. And use a variety of photographic methods to effectively use digital photography as a form of visual communication and expression. There you have it. Okay. Grading, everyone's favorite thing. This class is primarily, though not entirely, assignment driven. Evaluation will be based upon a written exam, the timely submission of assignments, participation, and overall effort. Late assignments are accepted, but points may be deducted depending on the number of days late. So if you're having a problem, talk to me. Email me, come to office hours, schedule a meeting or something, and tell me what's going on. If you are unhappy with a grade, please speak to me about it. Based on the strength and validity of your argument, I may or may not change your grade, but you may redo the assignment for a higher grade. And that's true of all assignments with the exception of the final assignment, which of course is due at the end of the term. And so there is not time to redo the assignment. Maybe redone for a higher grade if you want to do so. All exams and projects will be graded on a 1,000 point scale, and a minimum passing grade is a D- or 60%. And here's the breakdown of how those points are broken down, I guess, distributed. And as it stands, you will have first two assignments are worth 100 points each for a total of 200. The third and fourth are worth 200 each for a total of 600, totaling 600. And the final exam is worth 200, participation worth 200, for a total of 1,000 points. This is subject to change in that there may be an additional assignment worth 100 points, which will reduce probably the participation, but I will let you know if that is the case and give you warning. The final exam will be available on Canvas during finals week, and that is December 6th through 10th, which is really far away at the moment. But this means that you must take the exam sometime between midnight on Monday, December 6th, and essentially midnight on Friday, December 10th. You may take the exam twice, and the higher grade, of course, will be reported. And then a breakdown of what constitutes an A, B, C, D, or F. I'm sure you are all fairly well versed in that, you know, and what it takes to get an A, a B, etc. But there it is. Finally, for this part of the syllabus, all coursework submitted or all work submitted for this course is to have been made for this class over the course of this academic, should be semester, not quarter, sorry, and not therefore prior to August 13th, 2021. So the term began on Friday, which is goofy. I don't know why they do that, but all work that you submit for this class is to have been made from August 13th and after. So you may have work that perfectly suits the assignment, the specific assignment, but you did it 2 years ago. No, please do not submit it for the class. I want you to make new work for this class. Can I tell if you're submitting old work? Yes, I can actually, because all of the information about the image is embedded in the file. So it's called the metadata, and where you made it, if you had the GPS turned on. Excuse me, one moment. Close the door. Okay. And you need me? No, we just come inside. Oh, thank you. I'm so sorry. That's the thing about having classes online at home. Home stuff can interfere, so I apologize for the interruption. So yes, I can tell if your image is from the past, because all of the camera information is recorded, the date, the camera information, you know, the shutter speed, the aperture, the ISO, the lens that you use, the camera, and of course the date. So I can tell if it's an older image. Can you change the metadata? Yes, you can. If you know how, and I'm sure you can look it up online how to do it. But I think it takes more time to change the the metadata, then it does just to do the assignment. So I suggest you do the assignment. Participation, which grade on that when the class is online, but that's still part of the learning process. So I say here, though we will not be meeting in person, participation, which includes asking questions, making comments, and discussing your work and the work of your classmates, is still an important facet of education and learning. So there will be a general discussion format available for chatting, for questions, and so on. And I would like you to check that regularly. And of course, post anything you want, within reason, obviously. But post questions, information, images that you've found that you like or have questions about. That would be great. So that's one part of participation. The other is what's called peer reviews. And these are assigned for each assignment, and they're in place of the in-class discussions that we would be having for these assignments. So you will be randomly assigned 2 classmates per assignment, whose work you must comment upon. What does this entail? You are to make comments and or observations about the images you've just seen. Do you like them? Do you not like them? Why? What works for you? What does not? And why? Please don't just say, wow, I really like your images, which is fine. That's great. But please explain and elaborate on that relatively briefly. Of course, you don't have to write an entire thesis. In fact, don't write an entire thesis about this, but do make comments, relevant comments. Be kind, of course, as you would want your classmates to be kind to you, I assume. In addition, ask any questions that you might have about how the images were made or what the artist's intentions were and so on. And a relatively short paragraph will suffice. Disruptive behavior, which I assume does not apply to you guys, and also to an online class, but there you have it. The college will enforce all policies and procedures set forth in the standards of student conduct, see the catalog. And any students disrupting the class may be asked to leave the class, and administrative follow-up may result. Again, I assume this has no bearing on this class, but there you have it. Academic integrity. More simply put, please don't cheat. Do your own work. It's better to do your own work, and if it's not quite up to what is expected, then of course we talk about it and you can redo it. So cheating, plagiarism of written or visual information, or knowingly furnishing false information in the classroom or to the instructor, is academic dishonesty and is a violation of the honor code. So do your own work. Thank you. And of course, if you have questions concerning this or anything else, please ask. We have an access resource center, and this offers academic counseling, specialized instruction, so like tutoring, and classroom accommodations to students with a verified disability. So if you have need of this for any of these reasons or perhaps others, please do contact them. They can be very helpful, and I've provided you the link to them here. Important dates. Obviously, August 13th has passed, but you can add classes until August 29th. You need, of course, an add code. Obviously, you've added this class, but for other classes, if you so desire. The last date to drop semester length courses and be eligible for refund of fees, including resident, non-resident tuition, etc., is August 28th. After that point, you can still drop classes, but you will not receive a refund. Last day to add semester length courses, and August 29th is also the last day to drop semester length courses without getting a W or withdrawn. So there will be no record of your ever having been here if you drop the class by August 29th. August 30th is Census Day, which doesn't really matter for you. September 6th is the Labor Day holiday. It's a Monday. Obviously, we don't meet anyway, so it's not really very relevant for us. But if you have a class that does meet on Mondays, then it is relevant to you. September 11th is the last day to request a pass, no pass option. September 24th is also a holiday. It's Native American Day commemoration, formerly known as Columbus Day. So the same things apply to this holiday as to Labor Day. But to be announced is not relevant, obviously, at the moment. November 1st is the deadline for submitting a fall graduation petition and official transcripts of completed courses for other colleges, so for transcript. November 10th is the last day to drop a semester length course and receive a W. So that's an important one because after that date, you cannot drop a class and you'll receive an F if you haven't done the coursework. So if you need to drop the class, you must, or you really should do it by November 10th so that you don't get an F in the class. November 11th is Veterans Day, November 25th through 27th, the Thanksgiving holiday. And as I mentioned earlier, December 6th through 10th is finals week, and the semester ends on December 10th, last day. So if for some inexplicable reason you desire to drop this course, you don't like it, you don't like me, I'm very sad, or for whatever reason you need to drop the class, it is your responsibility to do so. If you stop coming to class, and that in this case means you don't, I don't see that you've accessed Canvas, you haven't turned in assignments, I'll email you and try and find out what's going on. But certainly if I can't get in touch with you or you don't let me know what's going on, I'll probably drop you at some point, but I don't guarantee that I will do this. And it would really be too bad for you to get a W because you didn't drop the class, and it would be really too bad to get an F just because you didn't drop the class. So if for whatever reason you are not going to take the class, do drop it. Finally, I welcome your questions and comments. I truly do. Please feel free to contact me with these or any concerns or issues you may have, or just want to come and chat. Please contact me via email or during my office hours. I'm just sitting here during office hours. I'm delighted when people come and talk to me. So please do. And again, if you have any questions or issues, please contact me. And as you can see, happy shooting. Here is Steve Sasson in 1975 with his invention, the first digital camera. I had no idea that a digital camera existed. And obviously it was not, it was not commercially viable, but it recorded to cassette tapes. But there you have it. That was the first one. The first digital camera I had access to was when I was in graduate school. So, I was there from from 98 to 2000. And this one recorded to a floppy disk. So that also was a very early one. We've come a long way, obviously. Digital cameras are amazing, and I'm sure that they will in the future be even more amazing. Really, what will come next, right? We'll see. It's a brave new world. So the course summary, actually, this isn't, that shouldn't be there. My apologies. That will be gone soon. I think you can't see that. This is my page. Anyway, that's it for the syllabus. The structure of the class is pretty much as you see it in the modules, and you should be going through the modules in order. The only thing that is a little not quite obvious here is that the technical information for Photoshop and Lightroom I've put further down because I haven't found a way to do it logically side by side in Canvas. So here's some Lightroom stuff, and there's more Photoshop stuff. If I find a better way to put them side by side, I will do that. But there's a welcome and technical information for you, class information, peer reviews, and breakdown of this. And there should be a thing on the, I don't know why it's not here, but on the text, just going over the fact that it's recommended, not required. But that will be up since apparently it's not here yet. The office hours invitation, and then the basics here. So some of you have had photo classes, some of you have not. So the basics of photography are here. The camera, different types of cameras, how cameras function, how digital cameras function, file types. So you'll find readings, lectures by me, and also class notes. So notes that I've written out as I talk, and just made the notes available to you if you have interest in seeing them again. And that is true for each of the modules, the lens, different, what the lens does, different types of lenses. And you can see here, there's the textbook reading, if you've purchased the text, how we control light entering the camera, the aperture and the shutter, putting those things together, called equivalent exposure. So using the aperture and the shutter together to control the amount of light entering the camera, and why you would want to do one or the other, giving more weight to one over the other. Depth of field, which is how much of the image is in focus from the foreground to the background, and how you can change that. So this information builds on itself, and you need the earlier technical information before you get to the stuff further on. So depth of field is one of the assignments, and you need to have read the information beforehand in order to be able to do this assignment. Certainly if you haven't had photography before. Color temperature and white balance, again, is information a little more advanced. So you want to have done the stuff before, looked at it before. And then Lightroom motion, how to make images dealing with motion, looking at work, and so on and so forth. And there will be more added as we go on in the semester. But that's the basic structure of the class. What you see up here, just one moment. In terms of the structure of the class, again, I apologize for the slowness of my internet service, but what you'll see is home, announcements, syllabus, modules, assignments, discussions, people, grades, and quizzes. And everything, hopefully, is there for you. So, any questions, Roman? Okay.
No, just looking forward to some new stuff.
Cool. I hope so. I hope that for you and for others who have some photographic experience, you'll still find the class informative and hopefully fun.
I've just never worked with Photoshop. I played with Lightroom a little bit because I saw a couple things on YouTube how to mess with certain things with Lightroom, but I've never really edited my photos through anything. I just took a million photos until I got the right one.
And with digital photography in particular, you can make so many images, thousands of images. In a way, though, excuse me, the law of averages says that you have to make some good ones, right? But yeah, I certainly hope that this class will allow you to hone that down. But also Lightroom in particular, I think I can't say enough good things about it in a lot of ways. It's a way of organizing your images, by subject or however you want to do it, and then working on them. And Photoshop is an immensely powerful application. You can do so many things in Photoshop, but for the basics, Lightroom, I think, is fantastic. And so we'll go over, of course, why I think it's fantastic and show you how to use it, hopefully to the greatest advantage for.
I've got like several filters for my camera and stuff like that. Because like Photoshop was overwhelming. When I opened it up and tried to mess with it, I was like, I don't know what a lot of these things do. And so I was just like, I don't even want to mess with it. So I got a bunch of filters and just I like the raw footage that I get because I do a lot of color photos. And I did the black and white last semester, and it's like, this is cool, but I'm not a black and white photographer. So I like my color photos a lot more, and having filters for it just opened up a whole new ball game. And really, they were just the ND filters, so I can take longer exposures.
Sure,
and it's just the coolest thing.
Yeah, those are great, and those are. I mean, there are some filters that you no longer need to purchase with digital photography, but neutral density filters and polarizing filters are filters that you do need, the physical filter. And you're right, neutral density filters are really cool. They really allow you to, make longer exposures or use smaller apertures in situations in which you would not otherwise be able to do so. So yeah, very, very useful. And our discussion about color temperature and so on a little later on will show, I think, situations where in the past you would have needed a filter with film photography, and with digital photography, you can just change some settings, and you don't need them anymore, which is really nice.
I found that certain colored filters on black and white on the monochrome
Mhm,
helped a lot. Like I used the orange filter
mhm.
on a few black and white pictures, and it really brought out a lot of contrast in certain
That's right.
pictures.
Yeah, orange and red will, for example, make the sky and the cloud, yellow, and to an extent, green filters make the skin look much nicer and increase certain contrast. So yeah, there are specific filters that are good for black and white that you wouldn't use in color, and vice versa. Many of which, again, you don't need to use in digital photography, but some of which you do. And then one of the many nice things about digital photography is that you shoot in color, and you can convert it to black and white, if you so desire. So we'll go over that stuff, and also I'm sorry, something's squeaking out there and totally distracted me. My apologies. Um, well, other very cool, useful things in Lightroom. So in my lectures, I'll go over many, many things. And if you have questions, of course, ask them. And if necessary, we can do Zoom meetings with my going into more detail, and record those, of course, for people who cannot attend. So any other questions?
Nope.
All good?
Yep.
All right, cool. Well, I appreciate that you attended, and I will hopefully get this recording posted for the rest of you guys, and welcome to Photo 12. I hope that it will be a good, informative, and hopefully fun semester in terms of working here, and in terms of everything else too. So I hope you guys stay safe, stay healthy, and yeah, contact me when you need to.
All right.
All right, thanks.
Definitely. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye.